Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time. It's a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And in the program today, devaluation impact felt as commodity prices continue to rise. We speak to some consumers. And also in the program, we look at maize prices as harvesting season gets to its peak. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. This is Business Time. In our main story in the program today, last week the Reserve Bank of Malawi announced a 25% devaluation of the local currency, the kwacha. As it appears a foregone conclusion, the effect of the devaluation has already been felt by consumers as cost of living is now seen elevated, with prices of various commodities rising by day. Our journalist Chimwemwe Mangazi went into the streets of Blantyre to appreciate the situation as it stands.
Spot checks by Business Time have revealed that mega retail grocery shops in the country's cities are adjusting prices to align them to the 25% kwacha devaluation. For example, a 2-liter bottle of cooking oil, whose price was recently reduced to 5,000 kwacha due to a Ministry of Trade directive, is now fetching at 6,800 kwacha. A 1 kilogram packet of sugar is now at 1,100 kwacha from 850 kwacha, while a 400 gram tin of powdered milk is at 4,750 kwacha from 4,450 kwacha. Furthermore, a 50 kilogram bag of cement is now fetching at 12,200 kwacha from 9,500 kwacha, while a packet of 72 baby diapers have moved to 22,000 kwacha from 17,000 kwacha. These are views of Malawians on the development.
It has affected us so much. Like myself, I work, but the salary itself is not enough. Because the sugar, which the 1 kg of packet of sugar, which I was buying at some price before, it is not the same price which is now. So if I want to buy, like before, I could buy two packets of sugar. As of now, I cannot be able to buy 2 packets of sugar. Instead, I buy 1. Sure.
Well, I tell you, it has been horrible and terrible because most of us are failing to reach the basic needs of our day-to-day life. Sure.
To say the truth, it is, I'm very sorry for this, but to say the truth, it is not the same Malawi that we used to have before. With this, we are failing even to buy soap, sugar, and the little that someone needs at home, basic needs. Because if you go to the shop, you have something in your budget. You go there, you find something is up, and you are failing to buy the needs that you want. So with this, we are more affected, and we know that with this, we cannot even continue with our projects that we plan to do. Some of us, we wanted maybe to build houses, to build shops, but we cannot. Even the cement has gone up. So with this, no development. And Malawians will stay like that without developing. So with this, I think we are much affected.
They further suggest that the government should come in to subsidize some of the basic necessities.
Well, the best could have been an economist to answer that one, but for me, being a lay person, I feel like if the government could have subsidized some of these commodities, perhaps that could have worked.
We have got a lot of economic experts in our country. They can do so much so that people like us who we do not owe much, which we do not have much money, we can able to afford so many things which have high cost. So as of now, the cost of living is very high. Many things we cannot be able to buy. Something like, as I said, sugar or soap, so many things we cannot be able to buy it. just because our money is the same as before, while the money to buy the goods, the basic needs, are not the same like before.
To the top management, to the top people, I think my advice is if they could encourage Malawians to depend on their own, not to rely on foreign donors or other people, but to rely on our own, that we can do farming on our own, and we can concentrate on making manure so that we can be using those manure in our farm. And we can also be relying on our own businesses. Because if you have a business and you work hard, yeah, for sure you have something, and life will keep on going. But with this, we cannot buy fertilizer, as now the companies cannot even stay where they are on their prices, because kwacha has devalued, and with this, no one can remain on where they were on prices. They need to raise their prices. So with this, I think life is unbearable.
In a recent interview, Reserve Bank of Malawi Governor Wilson Banda said the devaluation of the kwacha is going to cushion Malawians from scarcity of commodities on the market.
I deliberately mentioned the period 2010 to 2012, where we held a fixed exchange rate, an overvalued exchange rate, where government refused to devalue the currency. There was a massive shortage of goods across the board, starting with fuel. You remember, with long queues, people slept on queues in filling stations and the like, but the exchange rate was fixed. We refused to devalue. We had shortages in basic commodities, fuel, cooking oil, name it. There were those shortages. When we took a decision to devalue the currency in 2012, suddenly all those issues were kind of resolved. So for the ordinary man and woman, I am seeing a situation where the shortages that are likely to come up with a currency that is overvalued and a system that is operating in the black market or in the formal sector sets in. We are trying to avert that. It's going to help the average man and woman. In the initial stages, there might be some volatility. We can't rule that out. But we expect that with all the measures that we're putting in place and working with the commercial banks, we are going to have a stable transition to a new rate. So that is going to help. It's going to, on balance, it's going to be more beneficial for the man and in Malawi. We are going to have medicines in hospitals. We are going to import fuel. We are going to import the basics that are going to be threatened by a situation where we have an exchange rate that is unrealistic.
Executive Director of the Consumers Association of Malawi, John Capito, says subsidies cannot help the Malawi situation. But Center for Social Concern, Economic Governance and Programs Coordinator Bernard Mpepo says the first solution could be the intervention of the government to control food inflation by ensuring that maize is available in all markets.
Now, Malawi remains an agrarian economy, and prices of maize do have a huge effect on inflationary trends, as movement of the prices do have a bearing in as far as inflation is concerned, as it weighs heavily in the consumer price index, a basket of computing inflation. Now, the country is at peak of harvesting season. Our journalist Justin Kweu has been speaking to some of the farmers to appreciate how the situation is in as far as maize prices are concerned.
Maize prices are averaging 240 kwacha per kilogram, translating to 12,000 kwacha per bag of 50 kilograms, which is above the government recommended farm gate price, as announced by Minister of Agriculture Robin Lowe. A spot check by Times around Blantyre has shown that the prices have been constant for the good part of this year. Some of the traders who spoke to Times indicate that the commodity prices will continue rising. Agriculturalist Leonard Chimwaza believes the prices are a true reflection, especially in the southern region where maize is expected to be scarce.
What it means is that in this country, Malawi, most especially the southern part of Malawi, we should expect a tremendous reduction in the maize yields, because the report that the Minister of Agriculture did release regarding the second round crop estimate, that Malawi will register a 14% reduction in maize yields. We couldn't agree with that report, considering that not all smallholder farmers have managed to even get even 40% of what they planted in the field. So we really understand that that 14% is an average reduction of the maize yield, cutting across the whole country. So that 14% has also taken into consideration the maize yields in central region, but also in the northern part of Malawi, where rains were a bit moderate. They were good, so to say, as far as maize production is concerned. But the eastern region and also the southern region, that's where there were issues emanating from the climate change. We had the droughts, but also we have the two major calamities, the cyclones. We had the cyclone Anna, but also cyclone Gombe. So with the prices, but the price that is there on the market, the maize price around 240 kwacha per kilogram, it's not something which is not true. It is true, and it is a true reflection of what is there on ground. Considering that most of the smallholder farmers haven't managed to harvest enough maize from their fields.
The price above government recommended prices is happening at a time the country is harvesting and the crop is at its peak. Chimwaza adds that the country should have a proper research into how much the country will harvest and put necessary measures to avoid food insecurity.
No. Basically, the outlook isn't that good, so to say. The future of food security looks gloomy because the majority of Malawians rely on maize when it comes to food. Maize is our main staple food. Even if we have other crops, we have roots and tubers, we have sorghum, we have rice, but maize is the one that most of Malawians do like when it comes to consumption.
Maize remains Malawi's staple grain.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is William Kumwembe. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And my name is William Kumwembe. Moving on with the program, on Tuesday, Malawi unveiled plan for 8 secondary cities as part of the Malawi 2063, a long-term development plan for the country, which aspires to move the country from where it is to at least a middle-income economy. One of the key aspects of the vision is to see that the country gets to a level where there is wealth for all. Our journalist Taonga Sabola attended the event at which the plan was launched and has more in this report.
Launching the plan in Lilongwe on Tuesday, Minister of Local Government Blessings Chinsinga said urbanization, if well managed, facilitates sustained economic growth and thereby promotes broad social welfare gains, as articulated in the Sustainable Development Goal number 11 of making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable.
What these secondary cities will do is to unlock and facilitate development that we have never seen before in this country. As you know, this is in tune with the Malawi 2063, particularly in line with the SDG number 11, whose ultimate goal is really to make our cities smart, sustainable and livable.
Minister of Lands Sam Kaware said his ministry will provide land to investors willing to make the secondary cities initiative a reality.
The Ministry of Lands is an integral part to the entire process as we are launching the secondary cities. And we cannot have secondary cities without land. And land has to be managed properly to avoid any events of corruption. So that's why we have the Land Management Information System, which is going to capture every piece of land that we are going to demarcate for this project.
One of the investors in the Secondary Cities Initiative, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri of the Enlightened Christian Gathering, said he is injecting $50 million in the first 2 phases of the Goshen City project in Mangochi.
Being an investor, a local investor, to be emphasized, I saw it was very important and unique to utilize the advantage of the already existing opportunity that Monkey Bay or the Secondary City Implementation Plan, which the government has.
National Planning Commission Chairperson Professor Richard Mkandawire expressed hope that the Secondary Cities Initiative will be sustained beyond political regimes and not dropped on mere populist political posturings.
We as a Planning Commission, we are very excited that this Secondary City Initiative has been launched. And it's very important that I think Malawians understand that it is actually based on a rigorous analysis. It's not actually, the plan in identifying Karonga, Kasungu, Lewunde, Mangochi, Luchenza, or Bangula is not based on any political directives, but it's based on thorough, plans by the Planning Commission.
Currently, Malawi has 4 cities in the name of Blantyre, Lilongwe, Mzuzu, and Zomba.
Now, as Malawi is on the move to digitize her economy, various budding entrepreneurs could make the most of the opportunities that could come with the move. One of such is Kenneth Fukizi, who is working towards ensuring that budding entrepreneurs find a space in as far as investment in ICT is concerned. He has since offered a book which is going to be launched soon in the country. He caught up with our journalist Justin Kweu to discuss the rationality behind the production of the book.
When I was working here in Malawi, we've got our own environment, we've got our own challenges, and we've got our own way of dealing with things. And in different environments, they do things differently. So I managed to have the experience here in Malawi for a few years, up to a senior level, even being able to apply myself in other companies and in terms of doing things for different companies when I started my first business here in Malawi. But then when I moved to South Africa, they were clearly a bit more demanding in terms of what is expected of me to have.
Yeah.
And then I started learning a few things over and over again. Of course, we get a good base in terms of the Bachelor of Science and Computer Science here has got everything that any other university has. But then mostly what actually is applicable in the other countries is the actual hard skills that you need to start a job with. Yes, you can have that background, but you need that kind of like last mile connection for you to be able to do what others are maybe able to do in USA or even just here in South Africa. So I noticed a talent gap. I noticed a gap.
Yes.
And then the struggles that I had, even in finding proper employment there, spoke a lot in terms of having had several years of experience in Malawi, but then in another environment, finding it a little bit tough. So I looked at the situation because I've been, over 10 years, like I said, within South Africa. And then as time has gone by, there's always a lot of opportunities that are coming in through us. And there's opportunities that recruiters are all over asking to say, okay, can you consider working for us here, consider working for us. But you've got only 2 hands, you can't fit in each and every position. Yeah. So sometimes you'd find that there are people in Malawi, we're already seeing a lot of youngsters finishing college and just not getting employed. So I thought of coming up with a book to guide people, step by step, and I'm saying world class because that's what we're aiming for in terms of grooming someone even from scratch, even someone who hasn't done any IT related course whatsoever. I think the base qualification that we would want to someone to go through when they want to buy the book, or maybe they want to enroll in one of our programs, is at least a pass in mathematics in MSCE. So every person who's got a high school leaving certificate, or maybe they're in college, or maybe they're already working in the IT sector, I think this is your chance to go in and learn what are the steps. It took us 18 years to get to where we are, and the exposure that we've had with different other companies, Microsoft and all. So what I want, like from the Malawian aspect of things, I want Malawian youngsters to learn from my 18 years, and then compress it in a few couple of months to get to a stage where they would be competent and be able to access opportunities from outside, not just opportunities from outside, but even right here in Malawi, you'd find there's a whole lot of opportunities.
Well, that interview also brings us to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it does not make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.